What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Fred Astaire, running late today because my webcam quit working. Hey, Tyler, the picks have been going great, but my electronics have not been going good. The only thing that's been going better than that is your hot takes, but we'll get to that in a second. First, we have to welcome a first-timer on the show, Glockoma. I've seen you plenty of times on the Run Pure Sports. Now you make your way over to Run Pure Bets. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, guys. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to get some winners going with you guys. Got a nice little 5-game slate. It's kind of like a nice medium. It's not like a monster 11, 13 game slate. I kind of like these like 5 to 7 gamers a lot more. So yeah, excited to dive in with you guys. Should be fun.
All right. And boy, you chose quite a good day to come on because Tyler is out here dishing the fire takes. Tyler, while I get everything reset back up, why don't you just let the people in, in case they weren't on Twitter today,
I think we should
take that
save that, though,
ignited a
Fred.
firestorm.
I think we should save the take for if the man himself shows up, because it's coming out right then.
All right. Well,
So we'll
since I'm
save it for
running
the
late,
end.
I haven't even sent the invite yet. I will send it to him right now. Tyler, while I do that, can you just do me a favor and pull up the lines and introduce the first game, and then we will get straight into
sure.
it? All right.
The first game we got 7 p.m. is going to be the Heat versus the Wizards. Heat are favored by 6, and the total is 206.5. Injury news looks like Markieff Morris, KZ Okpala still out. Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler questionable, Hero doubtful, Strauss probable, and then on the other side, Gafford and Bradley Beal both out.
All right, there we go. Glaucoma, we'll start with you. How do you feel about that? What is your takes on this game?
Yeah, so I mean, I think we have to wait on the Q tags here. Caleb Martin's Q, Jimmy Butler's Q. They blew out this team recently, so maybe they rest someone here. Tyler Hero is also doubtful, so that'll raise some of the minute ceilings on some of the bench guys, and maybe even Kyle Lowry gets some more extended run after getting eased back into the rotation. But RPS as a whole has been kind of targeting Washington, especially when Bradley Beal is out. So obviously you have Spencer Dinwiddie and Kyle Kuzma from that side, who can be plays for sure. Although Miami plays good defense, so those would be my 2 targets. Maybe for value on the Washington side, you can consider Thomas Bryant. He's been kind of been their starting center, near min price, and if they are committed to him and want to give him extended run, then he'll definitely be a strong value play for tonight's slate. And on the Miami side, you're really going to have to wait on that Q news. Obviously, if Jimmy misses, Bam becomes a super strong play. The Wiz have just been getting crushed by bigs all year. So Bam is a great option at center if Butler's out. Even if Butler's in, he's a great play, just in general, because Washington is suspect against the bigs. But yeah, I think mainly the Washington side is my focus. I think Kyle Kuzma was my favorite play. And then on the Miami side, we definitely need to just wait on the Q tag news. Wait on the news, we like to say in DFS. So yeah, definitely wait on the Q tag news.
Yeah, we will be waiting on that news. Interesting deal there with Kuzma. He had been absolutely crushing with Beal out and then laid an egg in his last performance, so he'll obviously be eager to get back out. Dinwiddie was another guy that we were targeting, and he hasn't really seemed to do much, right? I mean, this come out, the controversy is there. About everything that's going on with Bradley Beal, Spencer Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie says, I tried to be a leader. It wasn't well received. It doesn't seem like they fit well together when you look at how well they perform when they're not playing together compared to when they are on the court together. So that's definitely an interesting one to look at there. Tyler, what were your thoughts here? Did you have some props that we could target?
Yeah, looking at this game, I mean, basically Glock touched on it with the got to wait on the questionable news. Now, Washington 1-7 ATS in their last 8, 2-8 straight up in their last 10.
They've lost their last 5 home games.
Yeah, getting killed at home, lost their last 5 at home. They're getting dominated by centers and point guards. If Jimmy misses, this could be the spot where it's like the get right spot for Lowry. I see his threes are at 2.5 plus 150. He made 3 last game, and the minutes ticked up in that second game back up to 31. He might be up to that 35, 36 range right here. I'll gladly take a shot on that over 2.5. And I see our guy, We the People's already on it too. Bam is going to eat this team alive inside. His double-double and wins plus money. Gladly take a shot on that. His points plus rebounds is 30.5. I think he's good for 20 and 11 here. He might give us 25 and 10 and blow that number out of the water. So Those are my two favorite plays for this game. And if you had to pick a side, I'd take Miami minus the 6 because they beat up on these bad teams.
Yeah, that's where I was looking at here. I'm going to go the opposite side, though. I do kind of like Washington. I feel like, we talk about buy low spots here. I think this could be it here, right here. The team should be used to playing without
Spread, we
Beal. They
missed the
do have
buy low
plenty of
spot
preview.
on them.
What do you
Remember,
mean?
we talked you off of it, the Bucks game, and we should have came right back to it, and then they won the game
The
outright
Sixers
the next game. Yeah.
against the Sixers. Yeah, and that's their only win in their last 8 games. So let's see if they get up for Miami. You do have a great point that Miami does usually do well against these good teams, but haven't always been the best on the road. Tyler, any thoughts on the total? It's very low, 206.5.
I mean, small lean to the over just because I think Miami can get there by themselves, get to a $110, and then all you need is Washington to get to 98. So small lean to the over, but not going to play much on the total here.
All right, Glock, any more thoughts on this game before we move on?
No, yeah, I think you touched on it. The trade deadline's coming up this Thursday, right? So, and you touched on it with Spencer Dinwiddie and all the question marks around that. I think this week especially we'll have to be dialed in because, with all these trade rumors, you don't know, like a player could get, traded mid-game. It's happened before. Harrison Barnes from the Mavs to the Kings. So,
right.
I mean, look at last night. LeVert walked into Cleveland and found out he was a Cav.
Exactly. I didn't watch the game, but did anyone see if he was sitting on the Cavs bench or was he back in the locker room?
He was on the Cavs bench.
Oh man, that's got to be awkward, right? Taking the Indiana plane. And then,
I'd have took the playbook right with me.
Yeah.
What we didn't actually get a chance to talk about that, Tyler. And like I said, my electronics not working today kind of has me all tizzy. Not my usual prepared performance. What did you think of the Karis LeVert trade? Were you surprised?
No, I mean, we talked about it, me, you, and JSU that one day. They needed a wing that can score and use the ball and create plays on his own. I wanted that to be Brandon Ingram, but all of a sudden the Pelicans started playing better, so they weren't moving him now. Mm-hmm. Now they turn their eyes to Karis LeVert, who's probably the next best guy in that position on the market, and they got the job done. If they were like plus 500 to win that division spread, I would say we should sprinkle it. Just with how tight the East is, you lose a couple games, all of a sudden Cleveland's up 2 games on you. If someone gets hurt, they could walk into that division winner. So that's something to keep an eye on.
Glockoma, what were your thoughts on Karis LeVert going to the Cavaliers?
Yeah, I mean, they were already good, right? 4th in the East, one of the best defensive teams in the league. And this just boosts them even further. I mean, it's going to make them a really top team in the East, I think, for sure. And, on the Indiana side, you have to think they're about to blow it up. I mean, what's the point of holding on to Malcolm Brogdon, Domantas Sabonis, if you're trading away one of your younger pieces in Karis LeVert, So I think those guys will be on the trading block for sure. Miles Turner, his name has always been on the trading block. So I think Indy might be headed for a full rebuild. So any from a fantasy perspective, just be careful. I mean, I think we got a taste of that last night with Sabonis. I think he only played 26 minutes. Regardless, he was in some foul trouble, but still, like 26 minutes, you're not going to want to push a guy to his normal load, especially if you're considering trading him. So definitely something to keep in mind. I think it's definitely a win for Cleveland. I guess Colin Sexton's future is in question now over there. I just don't think they'll need him with the way Darius Garland is playing. And now they have LeVert. So you don't want 3 ball handlers, out on the wing, especially that are that ball dependent. So I think Sexton's future is in question. But yeah, I definitely think it's a win for Cleveland for sure.
If they could convince Sexton to come off the bench, he'd win 6th man of the year the next 3 years in a row.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's kind of like a Ben Simmons ego thing, right? Will he want to do it? We'll see, or will he want to go, play hero ball for someone else?
Yeah.
I don't think he will personally, and I think that Sexton. This was a while ago that they've decided to move on from him. The injury actually prevented them from that. You mentioned Brogdon; he actually cannot be traded this year. I don't know the rules of all this NBA stuff, but I know that Brogdon is not eligible to be traded. But man, this Pacers blowout is long overdue. They haven't drafted in the top 10. What was it? I heard it this morning. It was like since like
they didn't even draft Paul George in the top 10. They drafted him at like 14.
Yeah. So I also think that with the Pacers, Glock, we will see some more of that where they're going to rest these guys. For example, with Brogdon, they'll probably be real careful with them, right? Because they don't want to win too many games going out. They're going to make a punt for draft position. I think they have the 5th worst record as of right now, so they're definitely in there to get a spot. And I know that Tyler does like this draft. Let's talk about a game that's a little closer. The Toronto Raptors are heading to Charlotte to take on the Hornets. The Hornets catching 1.5 at home. Home dog. Total is 224. Tyler, these Raptors have been playing well. They've won 5 in a row. Hornets, the exact opposite. They've lost 4 in a row. How are you approaching this one?
Yeah, I mean, we touched on it last game. Washington's lost their last 5 home games. Toronto's 5-0 ATS on their last 5 road games. Charlotte's 0-5 in their last 5 home games ATS. They're also 28th in opponents' rebounds per games. Watch Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, and Boucher eat them up on the boards tonight. They're also 22nd in opponents' three-point percentage. Well, guess who holds the highest three-point percentage over that 5-game span? The Raptors. They're going to light them up from 3 tonight, and I think they're going to get the job done and win again spread. So I'm going to tail them here, and I like the over like We the People says. And for the plays I like in this game's prop-wise, Van Fleet over 3.5 threes. I think he's just going to fling them. You could do the 3+ and win on FanDuel. Gary Trent to score 20+ and win, 25+ and win. The dude's been hot, so you just got to ride the hot hand there. And OG Anunoby over 2.5 threes at plus money. I could see all those guys just feasting on this team from the 3 range.
Yeah, and Tyler brings up a good point there. 5 in a row, Glockoma, and these aren't necessarily over cupcakes, right? They've beaten Miami twice, Atlanta twice, and the Chicago Bulls here. Great point by Tyler. That, right? We always target bigger teams against the Hornets. Who's got more length and athleticism?
Just another thing on that rebound stat. In those 5 games, tied for second, Raptors rebounds per game. They're going to feast on the boards in this game.
All right. How do we approach this one from a DFS perspective, Glock?
Yeah, I mean, if you've been following Big T and everyone from the RPS side lately, we've just been stacking the crap out of these Toronto games. I mean, the way that their rotations are so condensed, all their main guys are just playing 35 minutes plus. And, here I just see no different. Like, we're just going to go right back to it. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think Pascal Siakam is probably going to be my favorite DFS play on the night. Playing him at the 5 more has just been, opens up the world for him. And he's just been so much more productive. So I love him tonight. I love this game overall from a fantasy perspective. You really can't go wrong with anyone from the Toronto side, especially the starters. I think, Tyler hit on it. Fred VanVleet's just going to be shooting from 3. Gary Trent's going to be chucking from 3. They're just going to be bombing away. And on the Charlotte side, it gets a little more difficult because you kind of have to play roulette on which guy you think is going to produce. I think they all, think that they can play a huge part of the team. Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, they all can eat, right? So from that perspective, it's kind of hard to pick one who you think you'd want to run back with from the Charlotte side. But I mean, if you look on DraftKings, Gordon Hayward is 5K. I mean,
granted, he was 0 for 8 yesterday in his first game back, right? I mean, I was going to ask that, did they adjust it? But it sounds like they did.
Granted, he hasn't been playing that well, right? But he's 5K. This is like a season low. This is a guy that's north 6K in price on DraftKings. He was 6'9" at one point, 7'3". Just looking at his log, if he just plays a normal allotment of 30 minutes, you don't need much from a 5K player. And he's going to come with some ownership, but when you're playing a few of these Toronto guys, you just plug in Gordon Hayward from the opposite side, small forward, power forward eligibility, gives you some flexibility in your lineup. I don't mind him as a run back, and he's probably my favorite. My second favorite would probably be Scary Terry. Just going to take the discount on the price. Melo's above 9K, and then Miles Bridges is 7.7. So I'll take the discount on a guy who can get hot, streaky shooter. So Gordon Hayward and Terry Rozier would be my favorite from the Charlotte side. But yeah, this game, there's a saying, Big T 777, where he just loads up early. I think just no difference here. This is the early game. Make people stack this game up and make people chase you from behind, basically.
LaMelo Ball's always got a high ceiling. What do you think his ownership will be tonight?
He should come in low. I don't think he's above 9K, right? So I think he could come in. He could come in overlooked. I think maybe 10, 15%. Maybe
a way to get different than on your run back. You got to think Hayward will probably be pretty popular at that low price tag.
Yeah, he definitely. He'll definitely be the most popular run back for sure. But I mean, he should start. What is the Q tags? Cody Martin is doubtful. James Bouknight is doubtful, and Cody Martin is actually a small piece in their rotation. He's kind of one of the more reliable guys that Borrego likes to lean on. So if he misses, and Bouknight, who has been getting a little bit more run recently, this could be a really, really condensed rotation. Just Kelly Oubre and PJ Washington off the bench, and maybe they might not hit anyone else. Maybe Ish Smith for a couple of spot minutes but But, other than that, you could really see a legit 7-man rotation here.
All right. And it sounds like Tyler and I, we both like the Raptors here, right? We're going to keep riding this streak and lay the 1.5.
Trade proposal here, though, spread.
What's up?
With Indiana, we just talked about. Indiana sends Turner to Charlotte for Gordon Hayward and PJ Washington. Who says no?
Probably Indiana, because they're going to want picks.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they angle a pick in there, but PJ Washington, a young guy they can use, is like, all right, you're not going to win us games right now, but as we rebuild, you could be a key piece in that. And Hayward's the expiring, so they could just dump him for picks. So I guess
that's true. Yeah, I'd say 3-team, right? Because you want to get Hayward on a team where he can contribute right away.
He might want to go back to Indiana, though. You know how he is. Butler, all the connections, hometown. He might be like, screw this. I got my money. Send me back home. I don't care about winning anymore.
All right. Well, we'll see if that one plays out. I mean, I think it's fair. I think that if I'm Indiana, I'm just stacking picks. And you're right, though. An expiring is also almost as good as a pick. Tough to get free agents to go play in Indianapolis, though. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. They're laying 8 on the road to the Chicago Bulls. Tyler, the Chicago Bulls, the former darling of the NBA. We doubted them in the preseason. They came out. They made us look bad, right? DeRozan looked great. Caruso and Lonzo were adding all that defense. They jumped to number 1 in the standings. Then injuries hit. Zach LaVine, questionable for this evening. I don't know if that's changed since I looked. Obviously, my electronics weren't working, so we could have got an update, but I know he's questionable. Lonzo and Caruso still out as far as I know. So this team has lost a lot on the defensive end. They can still score a lot, but they're going against what I would argue, throw the stats out, the Phoenix Suns look to me to be the best defense in the NBA right now, especially with DeAndre Ayton back on the floor. Phoenix Suns 20-4 on the road this season straight up. They just keep getting it done, and they're much better against the spread on the road than at home. But the books have caught up, man. We're not laying 3 or 4 here on the road. We're laying 8 points, man. This is tough for me to get involved with. Seems like they priced the number right and even shaded it to the Suns a little to where, the numbers are going to tell you take the Bulls. I don't know if I want to do that. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, looking at this game, Bulls played last night. Now I'm pulling up their minutes log. Mm-hmm. Their starters played 41, 38, 36, 32, 22 minutes. Their main guy off the bench, Matt Thomas, 34 minutes. Hill, 22, Bradley, 12, Alfonso McKinney, 3 minutes. No one else played in that game. These guys are going to be tired coming in tonight against a defensive juggernaut. Now, mind you, Levine and Kobe might play because it was last night on a back-to-back. They might have just sat them, say, here's your spot to play. I don't think that pushes them over the top against a Phoenix team who's 16-9 ATS on the road and 13-7 as the away favorite. I think they're going to come in, lock them down on defense. We seen Embiid eat Vucevic alive yesterday. Well, Chris Paul is just going to put him in the pick and roll and get 8 in all these nice spots. 8 and double and win. CP3 double and win. And they have no defense to stop Devin Booker. I wouldn't mind taking 30+ and win on him. He's going to have a game right here.
Wow. Okay, so you sound pretty convinced on the Phoenix Suns side. Glockoma, DeMar DeRozan coming off a season high, 45 points. How are we approaching this one?
Yeah, again, I think there's some key Q tags here. Zach LaVine Q, Kobe White Q. These past few games that they've missed, we've been hammering Ayo Dosunmu, Troy Brown Jr., Javonte Green as value plays. If those two are out again, obviously those will be viable plays from the Chicago side, just based on price and what their roles would be without those two guys. But yeah, I think it's a great point. Like they just played heavy minutes last night. I think DeRozan almost dropped like a 70 fantasy point performance on DraftKings. So yeah, you have to consider where he's at. Devin Booker right now is projecting to be, a pretty strong play. He's been north of 9K and tonight on DK he's 8.9K. So, I wouldn't say I'm prioritizing this game by any means. We definitely need to wait on the news from a fantasy perspective. But I think, if you land on Devin Booker as the last piece in, I think he's a fine option. I think I agree with Tyler. They might smash this team. And obviously if they do, Devin Booker's going to have to play a huge part in it. I think a sneaky play is DeAndre Ayton. Last night, he played 24 minutes and dropped 48.5 fantasy points. Mm-hmm. And you have to think, like, Vooch is super tired. He's just been playing monstrous minutes. I think if Ayton's minute ceilings, get raised up, I think he could easily crush the 7-2 tag on DraftKings. So I think he's a great option. AP was right on him as a core play yesterday. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes right back to him today, honestly.
Let's say those Q tags are ruled in, right? So Levine's in, Kobe White's in. Does that kind of rule out the Bulls from you from a DFS perspective?
Yeah, it does. I just think they're better spots on this slate, right? Especially that Toronto Charlotte game. Like that fantasy environment in that game is just going to be way too juicy to pass up. So this game would be more likely like last piece in, like, you know, if I have to settle on a piece like an 8 and a Booker, you know, a Levine, then I'd be okay with it. But yeah, definitely based on the Q tag news will be, you know, what interests me from this game.
All right, and we'll be, you know, Travis Mangone's going to love this. He'll be with us tomorrow, but he always likes to say we will wait for the news. The Golden State Warriors are on the road against the Thunder, a team they beat twice already this year. Does that surprise you? No, the Thunder are 17-35 on the year, and the Warriors have the second best record in the NBA. The betting line reflects that. The Warriors are laying 12.5. Tyler, we said, hey, we're going to fade this team without Draymond Green. We're off that, right? And they've won 8 in a row. I don't think he's played any of those games, right? He's been out for like 11 or 12 games. So they figured out how to win without Draymond. One thing you got to say is, and I don't know, you know, if we're targeting from a props or a DFS perspective, but you just watch Kuminga, and that kid's going to be good. That kid's going to be good. They've got something right there for him. Regardless, right? I mentioned that this team's 17-35. That they're 32-18-2 against the spread. Give me the Thunder here, Tyler. Am I absolutely crazy?
There's a key questionable tag on that list before I would even click that button spread. His name's Lou Dort.
Yeah.
I tried to back him last game against your Kings, who are like 10,000 miles away from this Golden State team talent-wise.
Mm-hmm.
They managed to just dominate them on the offensive end. You look at their defensive numbers with Dort in the lineup, they hold teams to 44% field goal percentage, 28% from three. That last game against your Kings, they gave up 52% from the field, 38% from three. If he ain't on the floor tonight to cut off one of these guards, Golden State's just going to have their way against them. Like Giddey and these guys aren't stopping Steph and Clay. They're just going to run up the score until where they can't catch them, and they're just going to get pulled from the game. So got to wait on that news on Dort. If he's out, give me Golden State. If he's in, I'm still hesitant to pull the trigger on OKC. I'll probably stay away from the side.
I'm getting 12.5 at home. Glockoma, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think this game, I'll be targeting the value, especially if Dort's out. The value from the OKC side, I just think there's a ton of blowout risk. You know, obviously everyone might flock to Giddey, especially if Dort's out. But right now, he just kind of seems like more of a cash play. You know, he's going to get you that 35 to 40. Obviously, he has like way higher upside, like with his triple-double upside. But, you know, as of late, it just seems like he's, you know, just been more of a cash play that hasn't flashed upside. And everyone just keeps trying to make it work, but it's not. So I think from this game, I'll be targeting the value. Mamadi Diakite from OKC, he's been starting at center and playing north of 25 minutes. I think he's a great play. Darius Baisley has been getting increased run. And then, you know, off the bench, depending on whether or not Lou Dort is in, obviously you can play Kenrich Williams, Ty Jerome. So, yeah, that's kind of my focus from this game. I don't think I'm going to target any studs like Steph Curry. But, you know, I think from my perspective, I'll be getting my value from this game. Just because, like, I just think blowout risk is there. And, you know, like Mamadou Diakite, he's going to play in a close game and in blowout. So that's kind of where I'm headed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a basic way to approach it, but sometimes these rules just hold true, right? The value is the best thing to option if you are worried about the blowout, right? Because, I mean, Steph could get there in 36 minutes, or, you know, 28 minutes, but do we really want to risk that there? Tyler, total's 210. Do you have any thoughts on the total?
Small lean to the under, just because Golden State's been playing better defensive. Dort's on the floor. OKC's defense is going to lock in. But for the most part, I'm just staying away from the total. It's in that range where like I don't want to go under, and I could see it trickling over, so I'm just going to stay away from it.
Yeah, OKC sneakily has the 10th best defense in the league, but as you mentioned, Lou Dort, such a key piece of that. The final game this evening, this is pretty much the only one that I really like. Well, I guess I like the favorite in the Raptors game too, but I like the favorite here. The New York Knicks coming off that devastating loss where RJ Barrett scored the career high 36 points. Julius Randle gets 32 and 16, but they lose to the Lakers in Los Angeles. Now they got to go to Utah. They're going to take on a Jazz team that has Rudy Gobert. in the lineup. Gobert's back. I think he changes everything for this team, Tyler. I think they go back to blowing teams out. I think their defense looks so much better.
I got to stop you right there, Spread. He ain't playing. He's out.
He's out?
Yeah.
And his line's still 8?
Yeah, give me the Knicks money line.
Never mind.
Screw
Give me
all
the
that
Knicks.
talk.
Give me the Knicks. I'm sorry. Like I said, I went to turn this thing on. My camera's not working. I spent this last half hour trying to figure out why my webcam's not working. I thought Rudy Gobert was making his comeback tonight. Unbelievable. Thank you for stopping me there. I flipped my switch. Give me another dog. Tyler, you sent me that, right? Favorites went 14-0 ATS against the spread.
Yep, 14-0 ATS and straight up over the weekend.
Yeah.
This dog's going to win outright right here. Knicks money line. They're a big team. Both teams are struggling. Mm-hmm. Utah 3-7 in their last 10 straight up. 2-7, 2-7-1 ATS. New York 2-8 straight up. 4-6 ATS. You're going to give me 8 points with a team that can't cover the rim against a team that's going to play big.
Yeah.
Randall and these guys are going to eat on them. They're going to win the game. Give me the Knicks money line and Randall double and win the game.
All right, Glock. Well, I thought Gobert was going to be out. I think DraftKings thought when they were making these prices, Gobert was going to be out. Does that mean that we are going to have some value on this Jazz side?
I mean, not really, because they're priced up. Like Hassan Whiteside, $6K, so he'll draw the start. He hasn't been playing particularly well, but I do think we could have some value potential. Rudy Gay's Q, Jordan Clarkson's Q, and Donovan Mitchell is back. So, obviously last game he played 22 minutes and dropped 42 fantasy points. If that minute ceiling gets raised and, the game is the way Tyler thinks it is, Donovan Mitchell's gonna crush. And then obviously you're gonna want to run back from the Knicks side. RJ Barrett has definitely taken his game to the next level. 7K on DraftKings. I don't see a problem with him there. Point guard and forward eligible. So that definitely gives you flexibility in your lineup. So he would probably be my favorite Knick option. And then Kemba Walker's out. So we're going to want to see who slides into the starting lineup. Obviously, Emmanuel quickly should get more run here. He's a fine value play at 3.6. So, yeah, I mean, I think we do have some options here. I kind of sound like a broken record, but, as always in the NBA, you have to wait on the news. The news is so critical. Like, if you miss out on one Q tag, that just opens up, a world for another player, plenty of runs. So, I definitely think that we'll need to wait on the Q tags here, but I think on my favorite from the Knicks side would be RJ Barrett. And then on the Utah side, I think Donovan Mitchell will be my favorite. I mean, he's 8-4 and we were paying over 9K for him. So if he just gets his regular allotment of minutes, and maybe he will if Clarkson misses, I think he can crush this tag for sure. And the Knicks have always been suspect to, quick athletic guards from the outside. So, yeah.
All right, and Glockoma brings up a good point, right? This is for the DFS, right? You guys come on, you talk some bets with us. Give us kind of a quick primer, right? Like it's the outline of how to start your day. But really a lot of the heavy work and where the sausage is really made is on the Up to Lock show. And you can only watch that if you're a member of Run Pure Sports. Head on over, use the promo code Get Bets. Tyler, anything more from this game before we move on to your hot take that almost broke Twitter today?
No, that's it.
All right, Tyler, let us talk about what you said. Do you want to just read the tweet to everyone so I can?
I want to go from where it started from.
Okay.
There's a picture. I'm pulling it up now because I can't remember exactly who were the 4 guys in the picture.
It was Steph, Giannis.
There's Steph, Giannis, KD, Embiid, Jokic.
Right.
Cut one.
Okay.
You're not cutting Steph because then the whole floor is going to shrink like a shirt when you first wash it. With those guys on the floor, you're not cutting KD or Giannis. You're cutting one of the big men. One of them can't play defense.
Oh, now Jokic's defense has definitely improved this year. He has like the second best defensive rating right now.
It improved, but another thing too is Spread. What's he need to do to be effective? Have the ball in his hand the whole time.
But
guess who's going to have that in this lineup? Steph.
That's all.
Like, no, I just don't see it. Give me Embiid over
Okay,
Jokic
so that's fine, right?
Those guys on the
because
floor.
It's 5 good guys. But let's go to the real flaming take.
I mean, the stats line up perfectly, Spread. They're both mediocre teams in these spans. Okay, you guys are going to be like, wow, he was right 2 years from now.
Way worse. This guy's dragging. They're missing their second and third best. Who's the second best player on there? Will Barton?
Yeah.
Who was the second best player when Russ won his MVP? Steven Adams.
All right, let's get another voice on this.
I mean, I've
There
been
he
waiting.
is.
Right.
There he is. Oh, you kicked him out.
Let me try one more time. Hold on. Here we go. What is going on? I'm sorry. I'm on this laptop from
There we are.
2019.
Now we're back.
Here we are.
He let you in and kicked you right out.
I mean, I was waiting for this talk to come on because, I mean, Russell Westbrook and Jokic.
Both average around triple doubles.
Oh,
Both won an MVP one season. Both replicate the season. Both not going to win the MVP the second season.
Oh, I mean.
What are you?
I've been
what were your
speechless
thoughts
for
when
2
you read
hours.
it? Yeah. What were your thoughts when you first read this?
I was speechless sitting there looking at it because, I mean, Tyler's got all these sharp takes. He actually has never said anything that I've disagreed with very much. That's why I was so caught off guard. I thought he was joking at first. And then I realized he was serious that I didn't know what to do with myself. Like maybe the most skilled player of all time, though, compared to one of the least skilled players of all time, is not a good take.
He does have a good point, right? I mean, Jokic definitely is not relying on his athleticism, right, Tyler?
I mean, he relies more on his basketball skill than the other guy relies on his athleticism. But again, they're both putting up triple doubles. Mediocre.
Yeah, but
teams.
Westbrook's were hollow triple doubles.
His aren't hollow though. I mean, Westbrook.
No, they're not.
Jokic is not hollow.
Westbrook's won 70%.
He's winning with Austin
games.
Rivers.
Westbrook was winning with Steven Adams.
Steven Adams is still a pretty good player.
Not when he's your second best offensive option.
And the Nuggets are winning in the playoffs. Like,
are they though? Because they got swept last year
in the Western Conference Finals. They got swept.
That was the semis.
What was
the Clippers
the
were in the conference finals, buddy.
Who?
The Clippers.
The Clippers were in the West Finals.
Yep, it was the Clippers and the Suns last year.
Yeah, the Clippers. Whew.
I
mean, whew, that's a tough one.
I mean, Tyler, you can't say that he's got the empty stats here. There's no rebound padding. I mean, he's in there just getting.
Tyler can't believe what he's saying. I don't believe him.
It's not as much as empty stat spread. It's the fact that their seasons are on the same trajectory as those 2 seasons Westbrook had.
So if he doesn't win the title, that's what he gets compared. He's supposed to win the title with Austin Rivers.
You average a triple double. Everyone blushes over you for 1 year. They give you the MVP. You come back and do it a second year. Your team's still mediocre. You're just kind of pushed to the side. They want a new toy to vote for.
Is it really his fault, though?
There's 2 different arguments, though, whether he wins the MVP and him being Westbrook's Spider-Man gif.
It's triple doubles, mediocre teams. You pull them off the floor, they both stink. That's them pointing at each other to me.
Spread. I mean, you got to set your boy straight here, Spread.
I mean, I was shocked, too. Like you said, just the way they play is so different. Glockoma, did you want to jump in on this one?
No, yeah, I think me and Big T have had this conversation. If you watch Jokic play, he literally does everything for the team. When you watch Westbrook play, he's gonna tell others to clear out, let him get the board. But Jokic, the ball is just magnetic to him. He's always in the right spot, getting all the boards. He sets his teammates up. I just don't see how this is an argument, man. Jokic, I don't know. If it were me, he would be a 2-time MVP back.
This is like a Skip Bayless take.
It got you back on the screen, though. That's all I wanted.
It worked.
It worked. I was like, how can I get him back on? I was like, I got it. Fire at his boy.
I got 10 things on my desk, too, just watching your guys' show, and I'm like, I got to hop
on it. So, Tyler, you like Embiid more than Jokic this year for MVP?
Yes.
No. You belong on ESPN, Tyler, with those
one team's fighting for the 1 seed, the other team's fighting for a 6 seed spread.
It's 2 different arguments, too, like what you think will win, because I think Embiid's got a better chance to win, too. And what you actually think it should be, though. That's 2 different arguments.
I mean, if you
you actually think Embiid should win it more than Jokic? Not talking odds, not talking anything. I'm just talking you.
I mean, if the Denver was a little bit better, I'd say he should get it. But
what should their record be? Playing with Austin
what
Rivers.
else could he do?
Gotta have at least a top 5 seed.
It's like that argument. What do you actually consider is the most valuable player, right? Because if you take Jokic off the Denver Nuggets, They're
They're
horrible.
worse than the Kings.
Bottom three.
They're the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
But here's the thing: if we make that argument, he shouldn't have won it last year. Steph should have won it because the moment he came off the floor for Golden State, they couldn't move the ball last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's why it's based on context, right? Like, I'm from Dallas. I'm obviously a Luka fan. If you take Luka off the Mavs,
then
team,
Dallas
you know?
is a G League team.
Yeah,
so it's
it's all
Dallas's guys are way better than Denver's guys.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Brunson's way better than anyone the Nuggets are running out there right now.
Stars for sure.
I don't know. Barton and Brunson, I think, are equal to me. But
Oh my God!
No,
I'd say Brunson's a little better, but Barton has his strengths over Brunson's weaknesses.
I literally
he's out there running around with Monty Morris, like Austin Rivers, like.
Yeah,
and this is like a waiver wire.
We're talking about the starters. What happens when we get the bench guys out on the floor?
DeMarcus Cousins,
even worse.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, Boogie's the savior. That's how bad the Nuggets are. Boogie's the savior. Boogie's undefeated in a Nuggets uniform.
But yeah, Big T, you got to think he's like somebody else is going to win it this year after they.
I haven't.
They tore him through the mud
for the actual bet. I do think he's the best and most valuable player in the league, though. If I had to just vote myself, the odds, I don't think he'll win it for sure. The only way he's going to win it is if Embiid gets hurt or something again.
I think it would take Embiid and Giannis getting hurt, because I think if Embiid got hurt, they would turn to Giannis first.
Really?
They might.
Yep.
I mean,
I don't think they want to give it to him back-to-back years.
They didn't really want to give it to him last year.
Yeah, they didn't want to give it to him last year. They tore it apart after they gave it to him. And now they're going to give it to him a second year in a row so they could do it again on ESPN? No. One of these other guys are getting it.
All right. Well, Big T, since we got you here, you heard us run down the card. What do you think is your best bet of the day? We will start with you.
First of all, I gave a pick out to a few people earlier just in text, and then you guys liked it. The Knicks. I like the Knicks on the road. I like a money line too. I mean, plus 280. I think I betted that earlier today. I don't know what it is right now. I haven't looked, but plus 280 is what I got it at. I like that. The Knicks have been bad, but they match up good with Utah.
I thought that Gobert was in on that game, so I thought it was going to look way different. With Rudy out, I mean, this team just can't defend. I'm with you there on the Knicks. Tyler, what do you got for a best bet for us?
Go to Glockoma real quick. I'm looking right now.
All right, Glockoma, do you have a best bet for today, side, total, or prop?
I do. It's Toronto minus 1.5. I think you have two teams in different forms. Charlotte is lost their last 4 games, and Toronto's won their last 5. I think Pascal Siakam's going to eat them alive today and easily cover.
All right, Glaucoma likes the Raptors minus 1.5. Do you have something, Tyler, or you want me to give mine?
Yep, I'm going to go with that performance double in the Phoenix-Chicago game. We just watch Embiid eat Vucevic up. Ayton should be good for a double-double in this spot. Ayton gets a double-double. Phoenix wins plus 170.
All right, I'm going to take a tough team here. I'm going to take the Wizards against the Heat. They're catching 6 at home. I just think it's a good buy low spot here for the Washington Wizards. So it's a tough take, but I mean, these favorites can't cover every spread. 14-0, right? We're going to see.
We're at the tough part of the
tonight.
season, though, right? Spread, like it feels like this week's got to be one of the toughest for dogs because the trades, right? Or do we not weigh that at all?
I know you're right. I think it's definitely one of the toughest weeks of the season, especially if you're just trying to run numbers and you're not watching the games. And you got to keep up on the rumors because this does affect some of the guys and it affects them differently. So definitely.
How quick did they move these lines? You guys, as the bet guys, like, say we get news that whoever gets traded, friggin' whoever it is, one of the Wizards starters or 2 guys.
Yeah.
How quick
it'll
do we
be
get
off the
before
board
they start
within like
moving
15 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, about
15 to 30 seconds after Woj, it'll get locked, and then they'll take a couple minutes to figure out where they're going to reopen it at. So you got to really be sitting.
There's times where those lines start to move, and it's like, why is this line moving? And there's no news, and then the news comes out 2 minutes later.
Yeah. So sometimes they've got a little beforehand. Big T, is there any trades that you'd like to see before we sign off? Is there anything that you're rooting for? Do you want to see Ben Simmons in a net jersey?
Simmons. I wouldn't mind him getting traded, but I don't know.
To end it all, right? Yeah.
And I thought the Harden made sense actually, just because Harden doesn't want to be there. Clearly, Ben doesn't want to be there. I think Ben makes sense even on that team. So
yeah,
makes sense to me.
Where would you ship the 2 indie bigs to, Sabonis and Turner? I think one of them should get shipped to Charlotte.
Yeah, Sabonis would be fun in Charlotte for sure. I don't know. They need to ship him somewhere though.
Turner needs to come to Dallas, hometown. Hometown.
Turner
there we
needs a
go.
new change of scenery too, because
Yeah.
I loved him out of college, and then in the pros, he just hasn't. I don't know. He just hasn't turned out how I liked him.
Yep. All right. Well, Big T, anything else before we sign off?
No, just that promo. We're gonna put up a bunch of stuff this week for the Super Bowl and stuff. Bunch of props. I'm sure Tyler and Spread will have a bunch of stuff going with the NBA too. Tyler, you got a bunch of props for the Super Bowl too, right?
Yeah, I'll load a bunch on there for him.
We're gonna have tons of stuff up by Sunday though, and what is it? 56% off. I think Hoop put up there. SB 56 first payment for monthly. It gets you everything too. BetSide, SaberSim. Just get the whole package. I think it's only like $80 or something for everything, counting SaberSim. Just try it for a month. I bet you'll like it.
Now, Big T,
Glaucoma.
you like the
go ahead.
Knicks? You like the Knicks here straight up? Who do you think
Yeah.
dominates them, Randall?
I think so. I mean, Randall was shaky for a bit, but he snapped out of it a little bit.
Him to get a double and then win the games plus 600 on FanDuel.
Yeah, like that's where you bring a ton of value too, because sometimes I don't think about those bets, and it just like if they do win, he's gonna have to be good.
Yeah, there's just certain ways teams win. It's like this guy has to get there for them to win.
And you're tripling the freaking odds, like more than tripling it. Yeah, I mean that's a great call.
And if you think Mitchell Robinson for some reason falls into 10 points and falls into 10 rebounds, that's 12-1.
Yeah. I mean that those are great bets for sure. I'm gonna do that actually. I like that. I like the 6. I like Mitch Rob, but
yeah, I'm going the Randall one for sure.
Randall feels very safe. I mean, if they win, he should be good. So
yeah, should be motivated too after that little laptop incident that's making the rounds in New York. It should see a big game from him tonight. Hopefully he'll be motivated. Glaucoma, your first time on the show. Thank you very much. Any words of wisdom before we sign off?
No, yeah. Just take advantage of that Super Bowl promo. I think this is the largest discount I've ever seen since I've been here at Run Pier. So take advantage of it. It's tons of sports, all sports, one price, we like to say. Appreciate you guys having me on. Look forward to being on more of these shows for sure.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and Run Pure.